All right, Mark Evans, welcome to the Leadway podcast. Happy to have you on.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Absolutely. I'm super excited about this. Just being able to have really high level investors and business owners on that really get to teach the real stuff. And like we were talking on before the beginning of the podcast, super excited to dive into what you're about today. So, who is Mark Evans for those who don't know your name, and what do you do?
Yeah, man, I'm a crazy entrepreneur. Never had a job my entire adult life. Been going at this game since June 2nd, 1996, and I feel like I'm just getting started. Truth is, I feel like I don't know anything. The more I know, the more I don't know. But I grew up small town an hour east of Columbus, Ohio, in a town of 650 people. My dad did construction my whole life. My mom was kind of like an admin person at a electronics store. I saw them work their tail off to barely make ends meet, and I wanted to make money. I always wanted to be rich. I didn't have the social media and all these crazy distractions. I had lifestyles of the rich and famous, and see a cool car once in a while in a magazine, and you put it on your wall and dream about it all day. But I started off. I bought my first company 2 days after high school, a seamless gutter company, owner financing by this guy named Larry. He owner financed me, and I was paying $287 a month and change. And I wanted to do gutters. I saw construction. I knew how to work. I knew how to do these kind of things. And I'm like, well, let's go do construction. I just wanted to make 100 grand a year. That was my dream number. And I should have said net $100,000 a year, not
Yeah.
gross $100,000 a year, which is a big difference. But then I hired a couple of my buddies that they won, and we're out doing the work. And then through time, I started learning about. I bought a garage door company, did siding, windows, gutters, rehab, remodel, new builds, blah 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 blah. But in that journey, I met this guy. He kept pulling up in a Porsche, smoking a cigar, paying me cash to do gutters. And I'm like, dude, what do you do? He's like, I'm a real estate investor. And I'm like, I want to be a real estate investor. So I went to a course. I used every penny I had to go to a 3 day seminar back then. And I watched a guy make a phone call in front of the room and close a deal. And I said, if he can do it, why can't I? And I went down that journey, and within 30 days, I did a deal and made $15,000, more money than I've ever seen in my entire life, net profit on a deal with no cash, no credit. I still lived with my parents. I was barely out of high school. And I said, if I can do this and not know what I'm doing, I could only imagine what this looks like. And there's a transition, right? Keep in mind, I still have the gutter company. I'm doing all these things. I'm, moonlighting and doing real estate, but, working 18 hours a day back then is not a big deal. When you're 18, it's no big deal. But transitioned and started, got rid of sold the gutter company, the garage door company, and transitioned in really a full-time real estate guy several years later. And, fast forward to today, I'm involved in many, many companies. I've been an entrepreneur now for over 30 years as an adult. Um, I'm trying to figure it out. I got lots of different ventures. I own lots of different types of real estate. I should say I control lots of different types of real estate, from apartment complexes to commercial. I hate residential, mostly, but there's a lot of opportunity. And I've traveled the world. I've done a lot of cool stuff. I have two kids, 11 and my son will be about 11. My daughter's 7, and I spend my time, and I don't go to an office every day. I'm here at my personal private place where I hang out. But other than that, the only reason I'm here is because you and your audience. So appreciate you having me on, man. I'm excited to share whatever I can.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely excited to get into your story here. And I want to you talked a little bit about your businesses and how you got into, you started in business, you went to real estate, and then you got out of real estate more into like the commercial and business side. So what do those businesses look like today, and why did you want to leave like the residential real estate space?
Yeah, just to be clear, I started off buying a business, right? That was my
Yeah.
first venture I ever did. And what I realized is when you buy something that was around for, I think, 8 to 10 years prior to me taking it over, I didn't have to learn marketing. I didn't have to get the phones to light up. As soon as I plugged that phone in at my house, at my parents' house in my bedroom, I mean, dude, the phone's ringing off the hook. Business, 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 business. Now, my job was to like how to extract the business and go bid the jobs and do the work. And then I moved into real estate investing because I didn't realize, again, keep in mind, I wasn't trying to figure out how to do business. I was trying to figure out how to make money. There were totally
Right.
different mindsets. So, I didn't know what I know now for sure. But when I transitioned into real estate, I realized I could get, if I could make 15 grand, my average gutter job was $300. And I had to work and I had to show up and I had to be in the heat. Like I was an active entrepreneur. I was in the field with my guys.
Mhm.
So I could do a real estate deal and pop off 15 G's, and I never saw that kind of money. I'm like, how, like, okay, I got to do that more. So I did, I started learning about how to do deals with no cash, owner financing, creative financing, sub two deals. How would I tie up a deal right for $1, and sell it out subject
Yep.
to, or whatever strategy we used back then, to really start building. And like I said, it was just me and an assistant, man. That was my game. I did that for a long time. So, and I realized there's a lot of different ways to do this strategy, do real estate investing. Most people think they're big dogs in the game, which is always interesting to me, me included. My ego was so big, it was disgusting. But I just didn't know what I didn't know. And the transition is over time, right? 30 years is a long time in the game. So, what was the exact question so I can make sure I answer the answer
Yeah,
for it?
so what made you pivot from real estate into back into buying businesses and maybe bigger commercial?
Well, keep in mind, I've been a real estate investor my whole life now, 30 years. So I have not pivoted out of it. I've just evolved it. Right.
Nice.
So the thing is I've always been owners in businesses since 1996. So I've always had my hand in other businesses and ventures. A lot of times I like to call it the one step over. So meaning if I look at my P&L and I see all this money's going out in data and this and this and this, well, those are the kind of companies I'm looking to acquire or partner or participate in through financial, either my knowledge or financial resources or my reach, even my visibility now. So I've always been a part of different types of companies like that my whole life. So it's just now, as I've evolved, I've just looked at different models and levers that I can pull when I'm looking to make bigger impact. Where are the plays like longevity? Big, I'm a user of these products. I spend tens of thousands of dollars a year and living better, feeling better, looking better for me, my wife, and that's my world. So I understand it. I understand the buyer. I understand the capital available in that market, and I understand how to serve that market. Right? I am the market. So I go into businesses that I understand. I've definitely went into business I didn't understand. I always lose, but I understand these models. I understand these businesses. But I'm involved in lots of different entrepreneurship adventures right now, for sure.
Yeah, would you say the different levels of a business, maybe it's a smaller company, maybe it's a real estate company, to more of the companies that you're investing in and buying, are all businesses the same to a certain point? Have you that you've seen?
Well, most people listening to here say they have a business. They do not have a business. They have a job, and they work for a psycho, i.e., themselves. So when I say I own businesses, I am not in any day-to-day decision making. I'm not in any day-to-day putting out fires. My job inside these businesses that I'm involved in now are solve big, massive problems, right? Create strategic conversations and relationships. Put two people together. How do we go 1 + 1 = 20? Right? Most people like their money's being made now and lost without me. I'm not involved at all. My price goes up, my value goes up, the company generates more revenue. I have great people in my company. So when I say a business, there's going to be a COO, there's going to be meaning an operator, there's going to be a bookkeeping company, ideally in-house. I'm going to have a controller overlaying that. I'm going to have tax structure set up, and I'm going to have people selling and buying and doing whatever, right? Going out there and doing the work. So that's to me what real business looks like. And there's marketing channels. We understand marketing. We understand servicing the customers. We understand EBITDA. We understand what we're trying to do inside of it. So when I'm working with these companies, I'm more on the vision growth structure. Where are we at? Where do we want to go? Most people have no clue where they want to go. They just know where they don't want to go, right? But when you say business, I just want to be very clear. Most of you guys do not have a business, right? If
100%
you're, if
on the
you're a
real estate
wholesaling
side.
company, you don't have a business. People will fight that all day long. There's nobody selling wholesaling, making $10 million a year, and then building a massive wholesaling organization worth whatever. However, you could create a platform, a software that could be a wholesaling engine for all these other wholesalers and investors, and gamify that, which we did that back in the day, called reverse real estate. And uh, what was the other dude? This is 2008. What did I create? It was like Facebook for investors. It's pretty interesting. So I had a partner on that, and we grew that, and exited out of that. But there's a lot of ways to go about this.
Yeah, and that's why I love having you on at this scale because a lot of people in my market, whether they're real estate agents, whether they're real estate investors and do, maybe, even if 50 to 100 deals a year, they think they're running a business, but they're inside of it every single day and they're more of the operator rather than at a high level. So at your level, when you're looking at going and buying these businesses, how are you figuring out which ones to take on versus which ones to pass on?
Yeah, real quick though, I want to stop though because a lot of people are not created equal. I think most people are operators. I don't think they're real, visionaries at a high level. That's not me knocking it. I think we need people like that, and they need people like me. So I'm very clear on that. However, there's a transition time where you got to do it all, right, to build up what you're trying to do. Where most people get lost in the sauce is that they make $1 million a year and they think they're crushing it. Well, if $1 million a year is a lot of money to you, that's cool. But like, if you got to work to make it, well, you can only do that for so long. You're healthy, you're young, and you're cranking. Great. What is the play? What is the exit? What does the team look like? Who are you helping? Like, it's like, do you want to serve you and your family? Do you want to serve you in the village? Do you want to serve you in the state? You in the country? You in the world? Like, there's different levels to that game, and you got to figure out what you ultimately want. But I mean, for me, at the end of the day, dude, I'm looking at businesses that bare bones. I'm looking for residual businesses, number one. I don't want to work hard once and get paid once and have to redo it. That's flipping, right? A lot of people do
Hmm.
that in the flipping business. I did that. I did hundreds, actually, I did thousands of those over the years, many thousands. And it's stupid work. Like if I look back at my career, I had a pretty large wholesale, like a turnkey company where we were doing about 100 plus houses a month, buying, selling, and selling the turnkey cash. If I'd have kept all those deals, I'd be worth 10x. You know what I mean? But that's not the game I was playing. I was playing a different game. I was playing the quick cash grab and, turn and burn. It is what it is. So that was a different model than build portfolio building, right? As opposed to a portfolio builder. I already knew how to raise money. I already knew how to do the deals. I could have done that very easily. My mind wasn't thinking about it because no one, everyone in my ecosystem was like, dude, you're crushing it. You're doing 100 deals a month. As opposed to like, well, stop doing 100 deals a month and selling them, put 100 deals a month and put it in a fund and just keep building that up. And, it's going places. But I think I'm looking at bare bones. I'm looking for companies that have been around for at least 10 years. I want to buy after the pain, right? The first 5 to 10 years in any business is very hard. You're picking out kings, you're picking out players, you're figuring out what your real strategy is and not, what it's not. Obviously, I'm always looking for motivation, just like you are in real estate, right? What's the motivating factor? A lot of times, our companies we're looking at, I prefer $1 million EBITDA minimum, bare bones, with 15, 20 employees minimum. Ideally, the objective is to have a $10 million plus path within 24 months or less, if not way more. Have a great residual model there. But right now, honestly, man, I'm not super bullish in that space. I think there's a lot of kids and individuals out there that are buying businesses that should not be buying. Running a business is not easy, dude. There's a lot of moving parts. You got to make very big decisions very fast. And if you lose a key player, you could literally lose a lot. And then you add layers of financing on top of it when you borrow the money for the down payment with an SBA loan. Now you have 2 layers of complexity that I have to manage. And it's cool if you understand how to manage it. But if you're going in there blind or new, not only are you putting yourself at risk, but you're putting innocent people at risk that are just trusting that you're going to do the right thing. The truth is, you don't even know what the hell to do. But they give you the money and you go do it. And I'm not saying it ends bad all the time, but it doesn't end good all the time. That's for sure. So there is a huge swing. A lot of people are making it sound easy. Go buy this, go buy this, go buy that. There's a lot of components, a lot of moving parts to make a successful business, especially not just short term, but long term as well.
Yeah, I like that topic because there's a lot of people in the space right now saying go buy businesses, go buy like the $1 to $3 million businesses, and then it gets them out of their corporate job. Okay, mission accomplished, but now another problem. You're trading, 40 to 50 hours a week, now 70, 80 hours a week in your own business. So, it when you're talking about the scale around $10 million, you want to have this certain amount of employees. Does that is that just like the next level of these businesses, or why that certain scale and size?
Yeah, man, listen, the first 3 million, anybody that's been in real business understands $1 to $3 million is the hardest part in business. Why? It's the bridge of the next level. That's why most people are selling them because they've had a lot of resistance, a lot of pain. Typically, you're not making any money. That's the truth because you're either like, you better be committed to the next level. If not, you'll just suck all your cash out and just beat yourself against, yeah, you make a couple bucks, but you're not making real money. So that's why a lot of those companies are for sale because that's where the real hard pain is. When they're at the $10 million mark and beyond, ideally they've already went through all that. And again, every business industry is a little different here, But depending on what the model is it boring? Is it exciting? Is it aligned with where you're at? Is it a roll up that I'm already kind of got my eyes on in a different industry that I'm trying to really play big in? And dude, 10 million is like small. Like we were looking in recently most of our deals have been in the 60-ish, 60 to $100 million range gross rev. So that's more where we're playing now. But again, this is an evolution process. You don't even believe you can do it until you do it, right? So, my first company was $25,000 I bought. Owner financing with $1,000 down. And now, we're doing many, many millions of dollars of deals. I'm not in deep acquisition mode right now. Truth is, I'm just in build and evolve mode and serve the patients, serve the clients, whatever industry I'm in, and just how do we grow what we have. It's like any business, you scale up and then you shrink down and clean up, scale up, shrink down and clean up. And this is something that I'll do the rest of my life.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. Like the to be able to grow, shrink, and then grow again. It's almost like you grow to a point, you figure out, okay, we need to get rid of some of this to be able to clean up, to be able to go to that next level. So I want to touch on the teams because you have all these businesses, you have to have certain teams running them, and maybe you can go back to when you were traveling the world full time around 26, 27 years old. Like how did you figure out how to build these teams to be able to, get out of that day-to-day work?
Yeah, everyone here is going to give you different answers, and they're probably trying to sell you HR stuff. That's why. But the truth is, you just got to go out there and do it. December 31st, 2005, I left for a month with my girlfriend, Dina, now my wife of 20, we've been together 21 years. And we left for a month. It turned into 7 years around the world. And this is pre-internet, pre the way it is. I couldn't do DocuSign and pictures and Google Maps and all this amazing shit you guys have access to now. But what happens is what you realize. I had a team office in Columbus, Ohio. I was a hardcore micromanager. If they went out and bought a Post-it note for 72 cents and I get it for 69 cents, someone's head's going to roll. Like I was a crazy psycho entrepreneur. And what it did, it forced me to start letting go of things that didn't matter. 3 cents is not changing my life, but it would ruin my day. You know what I mean? So these are things that I had to start learning how to let go from afar and let people do their mess up. When I left in that first month, over half of my people were eliminated. Either they quit or I fired them. Why? Because I realized they were incompetent on the job that they were handed. And I was bloated. I was trying to look cool, look like I was successful, look cool, and be bigger than I had to be just for visual reasons in the market. And when I'm sitting in South Beach, Miami, Florida, on a flip phone closing a 10-package real estate deal, I don't need to be present. Everyone's like, "You're losing a lot of deals." Okay, cool. But I'm also doing a lot more. So what game are you playing? You got to realize what game. And this is like I couldn't do a video like, "Hey, I'm at the house at 123 anytime." Like literally I had to like have my local guy go there, take pictures, send me the disc via CD. Like it was a way slower, way different animal. But we just got to figure out what you want. And then as I did that, I started learning who the players were, where I needed help at, where I didn't need it. I still was working. It's not like I'm traveling the world doing nothing. It forced me to become a real business owner, not a crazy psycho micromanager.
Mm,
I just start trusting people, dude. That's really what has to, you have to trust people.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like I'm just trying to let all that sink in because that's we talked before the podcast. It's like I was getting ready to bring on some cold callers, and now it's like, okay, well, now I got to go back and think. But being able to replace yourself in those businesses, when you're getting started, it's all hands on deck, all you, maybe an assistant, but to be able to grow and scale these companies, you have, like you said, you have to start trusting these people. So at your scale, how does your system look to be able to handle and manage all of these different companies that you have and that you're involved in?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have great partners. I have great partners. I have great people on my team. I've had people that's been with me a very long time now, right? So I have people that's been with me 20 plus years. So I can bounce them around in different businesses. They know how I move. I know how they move. I know what their expectations are. I know what they need, what I need. Like we're on the same page. But I think we got to take a step back though, man. Like again, a lot of people, if you don't have a plan with the business, you don't have a business. You have an idea. So, when I'm sitting in South Beach, Florida, like I was doing deals, I was buying, selling, buying, selling. I already had buyers lists, I already had sellers lists, I already had a process of how to find deals through direct mail, through the calls. I knew my metrics, I knew my numbers. I didn't leave this blindly. You know what I mean? So I was in the game. So I was still in the game, dude. I love the game of daily, like the business, but I'm not calling a patient or calling a client today. I'm calling a team member. Hey, what do you need help with? Hey, where are we at? Hey, we're strategizing here. Hey, we need this person on the team. Who do we need now to grow here? Like more strategy sessions than anything else at this point. But when you're building this again, I've always had an assistant. An assistant, if you can't hire an assistant and manage an assistant, you're screwed. You will never be able to let go. They're doing if you cannot directly tell them, oh, by the way, pay this electric bill. Hey, do this, do like, and they can, and you let that stuff go. You're not letting go of sales. You're not letting go of buying. You're not letting go of, rehabs. You're not letting go of anything. You're still on the phone talking to Home Depot with your contractor. They're taking your credit card. Like, yo, do they have any beef jerky and Red Bull on that? Because I ain't paying that shit. And now you're in a fight with them. You spend $7, and now they start stealing from you. And now you're, 3 months later, now all of a sudden it's a big mess. And don't act like it doesn't happen. It happens to all of us in
Oh
real
yeah.
estate if you're rehabbing. So this is the stuff you have. But again, it's like, okay, cool. Let them feel like they won for $7. It's a win for them, right? As long as they show up and do the work, I need bigger problems, right? Most people, especially me in the beginning, dude, I focus, every problem was treated the same, big or small. It was a problem. I had to solve it. Now, $7 problem, I don't even know it exists because I don't care, right? And I'm focused on the big stuff. Hey, man, this is coming down. Hey, we're going to lose this person for $280,000 a year. We need to replace. Like, those are the conversations we're having at this scale. But listen, I have a controller. I have eyes and ears. I have a tax advisor. I have a controller. I have COOs. I have CEOs. We have all these components in place that are mitigating and managing different environments for me in each different company, right? Like we have an amazing windshield company. I'm 100% passive in that company. I'm not involved in it, but my two partners, actually my four partners, they're absolutely murderers in the game, right? We have two operational guys and we have two guys that oversee it and they just drive it. My dollars have 10x'd in that company in 2 years, right? So, and I'm proud of it. I love the guys. I just love seeing them grow. I don't even talk to them, dude. I'm not even on a call. I don't truth is there's stuff like that going on in my life. And then, then I have other companies we're building in our longevity business. We're millions of dollars deep. We have lots of team members and, you're burning hundreds of thousands of dollars a month to build something that you're proud of, right? Great patient care, great patient experience, great patient outcomes, blah, 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 blah. Like this is new to me. It's exciting. I want to learn and be involved. So you got to just know where you're at in the journeys. For some reason, people think, oh, I'm going to buy a business. I'm going to sit back and do nothing and enjoy life. Well, I've never met anybody that's done that ever. And I've met many people that talk about saying they do it and they've done it, but they've never done it. They sell a course to teach you how to do it. And that's just not real life. So I think we got to realign of what is business? What do we want our life to really look like? More importantly, what do we want the outcome to look like? And what's our timeframes on this stuff?
Yeah, so let's stick on that topic because a lot of these people listening to this are in that beginning stage, whether they're an agent, whether they're flipping, doing 100 deals a year. Like I just had one on the podcast last week, and I mean, he's crushing it in business, and I'm asking, what's the next step for you? And he goes, well, we can keep growing this, and I don't know. So where should these people start that have businesses already, say they're making $1 million a year, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, or even just getting started? Like where should they begin to start looking at what's next and how do I get to where I want?
Well, again, we got to know where we want to go. Like, I don't know. Like some people are comfortable making $1 million a year. Some people are not comfortable making 10 million a year. Like, what do you want? If you don't know, how the hell would I know? You know what I mean? So here's what I do know. If you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get there. That's for sure, right? They'd be like, hey, Chris, meet me at the Waffle House. And that's all I tell you. Okay, which fucking Waffle House? There's thousands of them, right? Like, this is what people are doing, dude. By the way, the reason they do it, and I used to do this myself, so I'm talking about experience, I did it to protect my ego, right? Because if I actually said where I'm going and how big it's going to be, one, I might lose you as a friend because you're like, dude, you're crazy. Or many people in my life told me I'm crazy. And the more people tell me I'm crazy, the more I know I'm on track, by the way. So that's a good thing. But the thing is we need to know where we want to go. And if we don't know where we want to go, how are we going to get there? And not only that, what pieces do we need to put in place to accomplish that? What do we want our day to look like? What's our dream day, dream week, dream month look like? And the best way to do this is start with what you don't want. What do you not want your life to look like? I'm 48 now. If I'm healthy, what if I'm not healthy next year? Like I've mentored lots of people over the years in the single family real estate space. This guy, he's like, dude, I have 120 houses. I'm crushing. I'm going to grow it. And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool. Why? I'm doing it for my family. Like your wife and your son. That, by the way, you don't even want the business. Why would you want them to have the business? And then let's step back a little further. What is your best lead source? Motivated sellers. From what strategy? Inheritance. Well, when you die, guess who inherits those properties? That has no financial attachment, no emotional attachment, and it's a big pain, it's a big stressor to them in their life. He's in the process of liquidating these 120 houses. He's only sold about 60 of them in the last 18 months. Dude, it is the most painful thing this guy's went through, and he knows what he's doing. And he was getting ready to leave that problem to his family if he dies.
Wow.
Like, maybe we should think about that shit. Stop trying to build something you think that that's what it looks like. By the way, most people are peacocking, acting like they're crushing it, doing all these crazy. Dude, I'm telling you, the majority are not. And when I say majority, 99% are not. Show me your P&L. Show me your cash flow statement. Show me what's in your bank. Like, they don't have what they say they have. Again, this is their ego protecting them to make them prop up to look like they're doing big business. The problem is that blind leading the blind, right? And they're not even doing it intentionally. They're just doing it because that's what they know. Right. So I'd be very cautious if anybody's like, dude, let's crush the single family. I used to bring people in. Like, I've sold thousands of single families. I know how to do that. But like I said, I talk like, this is where I messed up. This is what I do right. This is what I've done wrong. This is what I would not do again. Right. And so I'm not in that day-to-day business. So I have different perspective. Right. So I think we got to step back and ask, what are we trying to accomplish in this effort? We're only young once. Not only that, if you have no kids. I have kids. I don't need to work 20 hours a day to make money. I don't need to work at all, truthfully. Like, I don't need to. I haven't had to since 27 years old. Now, my lifestyle is drastically different at 27 than it is today, right? So I'm not saying not to work. I'm just saying you have to know where you're at in the process of the game. Am I starting out? Do I have kids? Do I not have kids? What assets do I have? And I'm not talking about dollars. I'm talking about people, knowledge, connections, information. Like, what do I have and what do I know? What kind of work am I looking to do? Am I willing to do the on-site work? Am I looking to just do remote work? Like, what does my day look like, right? What am I willing to trade off to accomplish what I'm setting out to? And then once you start accomplishing, if you're hitting $1 million a year, great. But now what? What do you really want? And if you don't know what you want at the next level, you're not going to wake up 5 years from now a happy person. You're going to miss the boat. I've helped lots of people that are making lots of money. They're not worried about losing money. They're worried about not maximizing their opportunity, right? That's a way different mindset. Everything could go to shit for me. I'm still going to be fine. But am I in the right rooms where I'm actually getting maximized, where I know, hey, protecting this, growing this, 10xing here, 20xing here, or am I just playing protection, or am I playing growth? Right? People I work with are not trying to protect, they're trying to grow.
And you become the 5 people you surround yourself with. And that was, before everything hit the fan in my business last year, or with what I was doing, that's the question that kept coming up. And I sat down and I looked at it and went, oh no. So, I want to stay on that topic because obviously you've had these big mindset shifts, going through these different levels of business. Who were the people and the groups that you were getting around to be able to, have those big aha moments?
Well, all of them, right? Like, I think the answer is all of them, as many as you can. So I've invested millions of dollars, and I still continue to invest lots of money for different reasons. But what you talk about, the 5 people, I call it the king of the dipshit mentality, right? If you're hanging out at Applebee's and everyone's talking about getting a 50-cent raise and you got a 75-cent raise, well, you're the king of the dipshits. Like, who cares? We just got 50 cents. It's not changing anybody's life. Oh, I got 3 weeks vacation. You got 2 weeks. Ha ha, I'm better than you. Dude, this is going on in every level, by the way. So it's not even just low level, high level, it's at all levels. But for me, it's like, I started off with Russ Whitney, right? In 1996, I went to a 3-day seminar, went to his other seminar, gave every dollar I had to learn, grow. I didn't know I was in a sales ecosystem then. They were just taking my money. But I still learned a lot, made a lot of money, and it is what it is. Like, I'm always learning. If I go invest money, I'd rather go rooms that charge 20 grand for a day, right? Why? Because I'm not paying for who's in that room, even though that's a great thing to pay. I'm paying for who's not in that room. Most people ponying up 20 grand to be in a room has something going on. They have a different mindset. They have a different level, right? Most people are like, dude, I only go to free events. That guy's trying to make money off of me. Dude, that guy's protecting the model. By the way, if you go to free events, you are the product. I have to sell you to make money. If not, why would I do it? Why would you do it? Why would you expect anything different, right? So you have to step into bigger rooms. Why aren't you? Here's when I knew I was screwed in the real estate space. I was 19 years old. I went to real estate RIA clubs and all these things. Dude, I went to all that. I networked, mastermind, mentor, like all that stuff many, many times. I did this thousands of times in 30 years. And I went to a room and I heard a 60 something year old guy having the same problem I had at 19. And I'm like, and everyone's standing around this guy like he's the big dog. And I'm like, this guy has my problem. That's my life at 60 and I'm 19. I'm out. I stopped going to real estate events to learn real estate. I already knew how to do real estate. Everyone knows how to do real estate. It's easy. Buy low, sell high. Simple. However, specialized knowledge, if I'm trying to develop something, I'm gonna go specialized locations, individuals. I went to business stuff. At 19 years old, I started going to business events. I want to learn business. Real estate guys don't know business. They know real estate. They think they know business, but they don't know cash flow management. They don't know P&L structure. They don't know real business. And I'm talking the majority, not all,
Yeah.
but the majority. And they act like it because they can pop off 60 grand in a month, 20, like cool. But how do I duplicate, replicate that, grow that, scale that? Not only do it in one location, do it in 100 locations, right? There's no real estate guys doing that. Business owners that do real estate do that, but real estate investors don't do that, right? So sometimes you need these components. And I learned that at 19, thank God. And that's when I started learning business, dude. You have to learn business. You have to learn credit line structuring. You have to learn, deal making. You have to learn hiring, firing, SOPs, P&Ls, EBITDAs, control. Like you have to learn how to hire people and actually pay people to work with you, and invest in people and help them and guide them and trust them. And, so it's a journey, man.
Oh, I love it. My head's spinning. Like this is gonna be one that I go back and listen to and just think for an hour or two. Mark, this has been awesome. I want to start going towards the end of the podcast here, and what's an opportunity right now that investors and entrepreneurs are sleeping on? And I know we touched on it a little bit, but is there a specific area out there where most people just aren't looking?
Listen, I think you got to look within yourself, right? I mean, listen, there's lots of areas for everybody, and everyone's different. That's what makes the world amazing. Find out what your true unique ability and gift is to the world and go all in on it. Stop pussyfooting around, bouncing around, shiny object and all this stuff. You guys need to get offline. You need to get super focused and you need to get serious about what you're trying to accomplish in your life. You're young, you're healthy, you're hardworking, and you got vision. Like, dude, everyone I know that like they have it, they just don't know how to align it to the goal, right? This is a missile, and if you know where you're going, you will get there, right? There's going to be lots of sleepless nights, lots of dry heaving moments, lots of unsurety. But that's why you need to be involved in, listen to great podcast shows, go to great events, get with real people, invest in these things. Do not go just the free ones. Please do not do that. And like start learning these things. So like at the end of the day, I love the longevity space. I absolutely love it. I love business in general, but I love big longevity stuff. I love tax mitigate. I'm a large tax mitigation company. I love longevity space. Why? Lots of people make a lot of money, but they're giving a lot of money in taxes that they don't need to. I'm not saying avoid taxes. I'm saying mitigate taxes. Understand tax code. Understand tax law. Don't believe me? Look at how much time you spend on making money. And then ask yourself, how much time are you spending on learning how to mitigate taxes? By the way, taxes is your biggest expense in your business. No one's doing it. They spend 0 to 0.01%. They just deal with it. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's not very business-like. That's pretty stupid, actually. So when I started seeing that over the years, that's why we built a large company in that space. And then, with longevity, like who doesn't want to live healthier, feel better, look better, all these cool things, right? And then I became the patient. And then I realized where they're good and where they're bad. And then I'm like, we can do this better, right? And it's a huge multi-trillion-dollar market. It's only getting bigger, right? And then obviously I have my real estate stuff, but that's I wouldn't say autopilot, but I'm definitely, that's easy, right? I've done it so long. I have great team members. I have great implementers. I have great people, like great partners on that side. And it creates a lot of good opportunities and cash flow and, growth and tax plays and moves and all that. So I'm very bullish on just growing where you're great at and go where you want to go, not where you're at. You've got to constantly be evolving, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be that. I think that takes a lot of self-reflection too to really sit and feel and know exactly where you're good at, and that comes with experience too. But Marco, what's something you're working on right now that that's coming up that you're excited about?
No, telegenics.com, with an X, telegenics.com. That's our longevity company. We're testosterone on the front end. We have a lot of great stuff on the back end. We have a concierge style team. That team is growing every single day. We have a great operator, great COO, great CEOs, great business partners. Like it's scaling very rapidly. We have some huge things in the making on that side. I just want people to go to sleep feeling better, looking better. Not only that, going to sleep knowing that they're building something worth having. I grew up in a family, like my mom's unhealthy, my dad's like a lot of people in my world, I grew up in this, like, I'm not knocking them, by the way. It's just they live a different life, right? So it's like they deal with stuff. I want to be proactive with stuff. And there's no right, for me, that's wrong. I don't want to do that. I want to be proactive and manage stuff. So people we work with at telegenics.com, like that is our baby right now. And we are very ultra bullish. And I feel like we're just getting started on that business.
Yeah, excited to see where that goes and all these businesses that you keep buying. So, Mark, where's the best place to connect with you if someone wanted to learn more about you?
Yeah, just on social media at Mark Evans DM. So on all handles at Mark Evans DM. I'm pretty active on a day. I just do a daily post on Instagram and Facebook. But other than that, man, I'm busy living life. I don't. The truth is, I'm not even doing the post. I have a team's members. I shoot the video, send it to them, and they post for me. But I'm focused on life and living. And I think most people listen to my voice right now need to get back to the basics and get back into the game of life. Stop using AI. I have a partner. He's big into AI. I'm always messaging. I'm like, yo, this is me messaging you, not AI. LOL. Like it's kind of funny, but it's also serious. Everyone's like, be authentic, be authentic, but they have AI writing their authentic message. Like it's mind boggling to me. It makes no fucking sense. Truthfully, it's absolutely stupid. So, guys, listen, you're in the trust business, you're in the game and long term relationship business. Look at this game long term. I'm talking 40, 50, 60 years in depth. Dude, we just celebrated 250 years in America. That is nothing. 250 years, and you're trying to accomplish a massive life in 50 years. That's 20% of how long America's been here. You can do so much in 50 years, way more. But everyone's like impatiently, I'm all about impatiently patient, but like they're all like doing stupid moves for a quick buck that's distracting them from the massive revenue opportunity in the future.
Yeah, Mark, this has been awesome. This is definitely going to be one I go back and listen to. But thank you so much for being on and taking the time. You know, this was a good one. So, Mark, thank you so much. This has been Chris and Mark on the Leadway Podcast.